good to be back here with you all to talk today about the third solo in our solo series, When the World Yields. So, forgive me, it's been a little bit longer than usual to get this solo posted, so I'll just dive right in. But before I do that, I'd like to encourage you to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and then click the little bell so you can receive the notifications as we put new videos out. You will more than likely be getting 2 solos in the month of October. Let's see, what else? If you like what you see, if you feel like you resonate with the project and what we're trying to do, which is basically adapt to the coronavirus restrictions, but while continuing to create meaningful art, as we dive into this process of a yogic approach or mindfulness approach to art making. If you feel like, yes, this is wonderful, I really appreciate what you all are doing, and you want to support us, feel free to make a love donation at shaktimovesdc/paypal.me, and if I have gotten that link incorrect, I will copy it in the description box below, and it will be correct there. So if you would like to just click on that and make a donation, that would be amazing. It really helps us to keep our project moving. At $10, $20, $50, whatever you feel called to share with us, helps us from renting studio space to costuming to getting new equipment so that our videos look more professional. So that's all of the housekeeping stuff. Let's just dive right in. So this third solo is called Cave of the Heart, and it is danced by Rhianon Renee. And Rhianon is one of our newer members to the company. She came on with us about 3 to 4 weeks before the lockdown happened, so she was coming to class with us and even starting to integrate into some of our rehearsals, and then we just had to stop for several months. So it's been a real treat to get to know Rhianon on a one-on-one basis, and I really think that you're gonna love what you see when you watch her move. So let's see. For this solo, it was interesting because typically what I've done, well, the last solos, the dancer has brought to me some piece of work or art or some thought or something that has been inspiration for them, and we've worked backwards from that. So when I approached Rhianon and asked her what she wanted to work with, she didn't really have, she said, really honestly, I don't have much to bring to the table for that by way of inspiration, but I have a need. She was rehabbing her feet, and so she requested floor work, which I thought, cool, that will be a fun challenge for me, because I typically, like very spacious, flowing movement that is on my feet. So that was a fun diving off point. And then for myself, I've always wanted to really kind of flex my political commentary muscle in my artwork. And when we came together in the studio, it was right around the time that John Lewis had passed away. And so there was a lot of literature out there, a lot of interviews, a lot of his words up for play for people to reflect upon. And I thought, I really want to do something that's about freedom and equality. And I really want to use this man's words. They're so poetic, they're so inspiring, and they're so powerful. So I chose a few of his quotes that felt very meaningful to me and shared them with Rhianon, and we dove in. And we intended to create work that was predominantly on the floor and politically involved with the issues of freedom and equality, which are very much up for review in the collective right now. So as we started working, it became very clear to me that, I kind of already knew this, but political commentary is just not my bag. I can sit with you and have a conversation, I can listen, I can learn, I can reflect, but when it comes to art making, I'm just not the type of artist that really wants to spend my sacred time, sacred creative space, going down into the muck of politics. politics. And it became very, very clear, because as Rhianon and I kept trying to, kind of get the engine going, we just kept coming back to this place where it was like, in order for me to really contemplate freedom, I've got to go into the places where I do not feel free, all of the bondage and limitation that is surrounding me in my life. And, so it became very clear that it's almost impossible to comment on something on a collective scale without coming right here into our own heart space, into our own experiential data bank, if you will, which very clearly sent us into the place of examining our microcosmic family situations. And so from that place, we were able to take the floor work that the movement that I created for Rhianon, we were able to take that and explore, like, I wonder what it would be like if I did that phrase work with this intention and fueled by this memory, and what if I really felt into what it's like to be a woman and the inequality I felt as a woman in my lifetime, what would it feel like to do this phrase work as XYZ? And we just kept going through the gamut. And at that point, Rhianon decided that it felt important to her to take her own personal rehearsal time to work on the solo, and she just kind of ran with it, and it was wonderful to see how from week to week the solo transformed until she started to land on something that felt really meaningful for her. And so that was a wonderful journey for me to experience. Let's see. The other thing that for me choreographically was really exciting to play with was the floor work, and exploring how when I first came into the studio and did floor work, I felt really limited, honestly. I had a tough time coming up with something new, something that felt like I hadn't done it before. So that was definitely a challenge, and what I learned from that challenge was through the limitation of, only floor work, I was able to find a sense of freedom where I felt flow and joyful, and that was a pleasant surprise. I didn't really expect for it to be that fun when I first started. I really thought it would be more challenging, but it just became really evident to me that we have these freedoms in our lives. Some of them are given to us through the Bill of Rights, and some of them are just our own personal freedoms that we allow ourselves from day to day. But we have these freedoms, and they exist because there are some there's a foundation of limit, right? There's foundations that are rules or regulations or laws or this and that. And the thing about that is that freedoms can't exist. We cannot know freedom if we do not know its opposite. And the opposite actually gives us an experience that makes those freedoms really worthwhile. And so if we don't approach our freedom with a sense of responsibility, a sense of respect, maturity, and wisdom, my question is, what is freedom then? And is it really meaningful? So this solo really put me in a position to walk my talk and to really get curious about giving a work of art the freedom to be alive. So what I mean by that is I came in with a preconceived notion of what I wanted this solo to be like, and it turned into something completely different than what I originally intended. And the freedom to allow that to happen, to allow that creative freedom, exactly, to exist, was a teacher for me to see how, everything exists as it's meant to be in its seed form. And if you simply allow it to grow without trying to manipulate it or control it, the outcome will more than likely surprise you and bring you more grace than you ever could have imagined had you stayed with this contrived notion of what freedom, for example, in this case, what freedom looks like. So it's been a really wonderful journey, and I am still honestly kind of processing that and watching that in my life, in my family unit, in my personal creation explorations. You know, it's really touched me deeply. This solo has really touched me deeply. So the last thing I want to tell you about is the music. The music came in. It was like a random thing that this music came to me at the time of creating this solo, and also that Rhianon loved it. So the music is a chanting of the Heart Sutra by a Japanese Buddhist monk. And this particular monk, and I'll copy his information in the description box below as well, but one of his missions as a monk, his personal mission, is to take the traditions of Buddhism, as it's reflected in Japan, and make it contemporary so that it can be accessible to people of today. And I just really admire that, because it feels like if a teaching is truly timeless, it must adapt and stand the test of time without losing its integrity. So for me, this has been like just a wonderful way to say yes to the idea that we can be rooted in tradition, ancient tradition, but that it can be meaningful to us today, whether or not we understand the language it's spoken in, whether or not we have been raised in that culture, whether or not I don't know, you know what I'm saying? It's very clear to me, and I believe Rhianon as well, that we were affected by the vibrations of this chanting. I know I was. I know I had sleepless nights where I would play this chanting and it would immediately bring me to a place of calm, surrender in my heart space. And so that's why I chose to call this piece Cave of the Heart, because it really, not only does the dance itself have a very intimate, sacred, quiet feeling to it, the sounds of the chanting, the movement, the intention that we started the inquiry with, has led me to a place of rest in my heart center. So this, for me, is significant, because in Hindu scripture, there's often this place called Cave of the Heart that the masters refer to when they're talking about meditation, and the proper environment for meditation is the cave of the heart. And you know, what does that mean? It's really very profound. It's a profound metaphor for the place where the mental faculties have been balanced with the faculties of intuition. And then the practitioner can rest in this space of surrender and refuge and peaceful abidance. And that is a space of revelation. So in a way, this piece is totally full circle, from its title to the music that has come in, to the way that we began exploring movement, to John Lewis, to the collective sort of turmoil that we're experiencing. All of it is in a way happenstance, but very deliberate. And yeah, it's just really exciting for me to see how all of it played out. And I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Another thing that I wanted to offer is that, just like in the last solo, when I worked with Erica, I had asked her some questions and she answered them. So we had some writing from Erica about her experience in the process of the last solo we did. I did the same thing with Rhianon. It was a little bit more loose this time. And Rhianon really did put a lot of thought, and she's a beautiful writer. So I took the liberty to create, for me, what feels like a little bit of a poem or a prose piece about her process. And then I'll also include a couple of the other answers to the questions that I gave to her, so you can get a sense of Rhianon and what she experienced through our process together. So yeah, that's Cave of the Heart. I hope you enjoy. Again, if you love what you see, subscribe and click the bell and follow us through the rest of the series. We've got about 3, possibly 4 more solos to go. And if you really, really love what we're doing and you want to support us and help us through the rest of the year, because it's pretty difficult right now for artists of all genres, to continue doing what we do. Please feel free to click the link in the description box below and give us a love donation. www.shaktimovesdc/paypal.me. Y'all have a great day. Take it easy.